Hello everybody, Mark with Grimtastic Baits. Thanks for tuning in to another one of these mold ratings. Again, these molds are all things that I own, that I personally shoot, and that I will sell the baits from for my small business. Today, this one might shock some of you. This one is the Do-It Molds iCraw. Now, I know a lot of people Do-It Molds are, make kind of subpar sometimes, you might think, or they're only known for their lead heads and their lead molds and things of that nature. But this one is actually one that really got me into shooting injection. I used to fish, I love craw fishing, and I used to fish with the Savage Gear 3D craw. Saw it in white, wanted it, couldn't find it anywhere except overseas, didn't want to pay the price. I just started doing open pores and went searching for a craw that was realistic looking and ran across this. Now, let's start out with the cost. It is $74.85 right now at time of filming, and it is a one cavity. So, a little pricey for one cavity, but the detail on this craw is amazing. It truly is. So your options is do it. This is actually the single shot CNC aluminum mold. Now Do It will make what's called the Essential Series, and they have the Essential Series XL iCraw. Now that's 4 cavities for $92. So why wouldn't you do that? Well, the Essential Series is, in my opinion, not as good. It's casted aluminum. It's not CNC. So you do not get the shine, the glisten, the gloss off of your baits when you're done like you do with these. Now, I know right now the Japanese market's going for these muted and toned down and matte style baits, but let's be honest, that's just going to be another fad in my opinion. What you don't know is, well, I guess what I know is, why would we go through the trouble of getting as clear plastic as we can, getting the bubbles out, making sure we have bright colors, making sure that our glitter is extremely attractive and flashy? Why would you go through all that to have a matte bait? It doesn't make sense to me. So for me, I mean, if you're on a budget and you just want to shoot baits for yourself and that all doesn't matter, which I don't know why you'd be shooting baits to begin with if it doesn't, then the Essential Series is out there. The other option is there's a Bass Tackle 73.3 HD craw in a 3.75 inch. That's one cavity for $79, but it does not have antenna. It does not have legs. It's just a body with claws. It's more expensive, doesn't look anywhere near as good. So anyway, going to cost on this, since it is a single shot, even though it is extremely detailed, $74.85 is a bit pricey for what you get, so I'm going to give this a rating of 7. Now the design is actually one of a kind on this, going to the design of it. It's 3.5 inches overall, and let me grab an example here. This is the dual I shot. You do have individual, and these are thin, individual antenna. Each leg goes clear down. I don't know if you can see that or not. It has pinchers on each little leg. It might be too small for the camera to even pick up, but they're there. You can kind of see it there. Each leg has that. That's incredible. It's got little eye sockets on it. It is a beautiful bait. Extremely detailed. The only thing that I'm kind of sad about is I really wish they'd finished it up and did something with a tail back here. Even if they left this part flat, where you could do a Ned rig, I really wish there was some sort of tail appendage. I think that would have really added to it so much. But as we're speaking, where it shines best is a Ned. I mean, this is a weedless Ned. Tuck that hook back in there a little bit, but a weedless Ned. This is I mean, this is your smallmouth river killer. I mean, this is the finesse bait you're looking for as far as river fishing for smallies. It doesn't get much better than that, and that's primarily what I catch on this bait. It's just superior in every way. Um, because of the fact that it's as detailed as it is, it's almost a one of a kind. I'm actually going to rate this thing as a 9 on the design. So let's move into versatility. It shoots singles. It does shoot duals, as you can see, and it does an extremely good job at that. Really good job. So triples, you might kind of wonder and think, that's some thin appendages. That may not be the greatest at it, but I'm here to tell you, she shoots triples and does an amazing job at it. I mean, it's gorgeous. You get true definition of all three colors, and then when they do blend, my gosh, it's just beautiful. Now, going back to let's jump back on design real quick here. It does, well, you know what, we'll save this for later. I'm going to show this off a little later. But because it does singles, duals, triples, there's no hook slot. Really don't need one. There's no core shot option. There's no extra claw options, although some people will cut them off and then put them in and then reshoot the bait so they get different claws and claw tips, which you can completely do. That's not a problem. If you look at the venting here, there are plenty of opportunities to cut off at any of those points up to there and get yourself a different colored claw. I wouldn't go much further back than that vent personally. I mean, I'd cut it right to there because there's no real venting from there on. But I've seen it done and it looks good. So versatility wise, I'm going to give this a 7. You know, it's mid-range, a little better than mid-range. It does, you know, doubles, triples, does everything you need to. So I'm going to give it a 7. Doesn't do anything more than that. As far as use, this is what I was going to touch on here, was it's a very symmetrical bait for the most part. You wouldn't think it, but it is actually very symmetrical. When I do shoot this thing, I do it around 330 degrees, and I do it fast. I mean, it's not what you would typically think you should be doing with soft plastics, but if you don't shoot it extremely fast, you are not going to get those tiny appendages to fill out really quick, and you're not going to get the plastic past this point and into these thinner claws. It's just not going to happen. You got to go fast. Otherwise, that plastic will actually set up pretty quick. And that's with this mold extremely hot to the point where I almost can't touch it. So as far as use, that's what we're looking for, is fast and fairly warm, 330. When you're considering this, for business use, I would not personally, and I don't, go any more than single shot unless I'm going to charge a lot more or I'm making them for myself than a double or a triple. The reason being, kind of touched this on the last video with the 2.3 Epic Prey Bait, is the sprue. That's a big sprue. This is what you get out of it. If you compare it to the size of the bait, you see where I'm going with this, right? And I weighed them out. You're using 8 grams of plastisol for the bait, but you're using 6 grams for the sprue runner. If you got a dual or a triple in there, again, you're going to combine those, remelt them down for whatever junk color you get out of it. So for a business, it could be very costly for doing these. That's why I stick with singles. So as far as the use, I'm going to give this, well, let me bring up one other issue. 2 other issues. First of all, I don't consider it an issue, but you see right there, sometimes when you're shooting as hot as I do, the venting shows up. I don't mind this. This actually, in my opinion, gives it more character and makes it kind of have more of a crustacean feel, and I really like that. It's not supposed to be on there, but I leave them on there. I love it. I think it adds a little more detail to the bait. Second of all, as you can see in this one, there are occasions where you will get, see that dent on this side? There we got a little dent. It is prone to that. It is prone to denting like that, and it is prone to sometimes capturing an air bubble right there. Now, I thought maybe it's because I was shooting fast, like I earlier said. Nothing to do with it. You can shoot it slow, medium, differ your speeds. It's just something that happens with this bait. So because of those two issues and the fact that the sprue is so big, I'm not going to give this a great score on use. I'm going to give it a 7 for that. And I think that's being extremely fair to it. As far as appeal, sadly, this is where it's really going to hurt this one. I do see these on the secondhand market, and they go quick when they do. But at the same time, I don't see a lot of people asking for them on the secondhand market. I see a lot of people trying to get rid of the Essential Series iCraw on the secondary market, but that's not what we're talking about here. And there's doesn't seem to be a lot of appeal for this. I love this bait. This is my smallmouth river go-to, and I love everything about the design of it. However, I try to sell these at about usually $5 for a dozen, which I think is a very decent price. I mean, you can go to a Walmart and not find anything this detailed for that kind of price. So even at $5 for a dozen, I don't sell them. Not very often. I don't understand why. I think it's just that whole idea that it's the do-it mold that people don't like. I have no other reasoning or no any other reason why people don't love this bait. But to be fair about it, the appeal is not there. Because the appeal is not there, I'm going to have to give this a 5. It's very unfortunate, but as appealing it is to me, it's not appealing to other people out there for some reason. So in the end, we've got the iCraw, we tally all the numbers up, and we end up with an overall score of 7.0. I really wished I could have rated this higher as much as I love this mold, but all things being fair, looking at the price, versatility, how it shoots, the appeal of it, unfortunately a 7 is the best I can give this thing. Personally, I have 3 of them because I like to line them up, and if I could have 5 or 10 of them, I would. But again, that price, $74.85 for single cavity, it's the only thing that's really keeping me from jumping at purchasing more of them, and the fact that I don't sell a lot of them. If I'm not selling a lot of them, there's not a whole point to me making a whole bunch of them and having to have a whole bunch of molds to them. So in the end, 7.0. Should you get this mold? Yes, if you're planning on using it strictly for yourself and you do a lot of finesse fishing and river fishing for smallies, great mold. I say yes, absolutely. If you're getting it for business, small business, anything along those lines, no. It's, a single shot over and over for an 8-gram bait, which is very small, doesn't use a lot of plastic. You'll be shooting it over and over and over and over. Not worth it for a business owner or a small business person to get it and try to sell these. I can speak firsthand for that. But if you're getting it for your own personal use, just want to make a slew of them, go catch some smallies, this is your bait. There's just no way around it. So anyway, I hope that has been informative for you. And as I say, I am not paid by anybody. I do not get any kickbacks. I don't get any discounts. I don't get free molds. I do this with my own personal opinion, a no BS review. And I thank you for watching as usual. And you don't have to like, you don't have to subscribe. You're not, I'm not your dad. I can't tell you what to do. Hope you enjoyed me screwing up a few things and getting all tongue-tied, and I'll come at you next week with another mold rating. Thanks for watching.